Hey guys, this is K-Town from Same Sex Dialogue, and we have a very special show for you today. But first, we have a word from our sponsor, new sponsor, which is Christopher's Knoxville, and they have some great things going on this weekend and something going on next weekend. So I'm going to tell you about this weekend. They are having French-tastic, celebrating Knoxville's fringe art scene. That show is going to be this Saturday, February 6th. It starts at 9 p.m., baby, and I want you to be a part of that one.
Is that cabaret dance?
Yes.
You've always wanted me to do that.
Yes, please do that.
Oh, gosh. On top of belly dancing and my art classes.
And your training, you can fit it in. You can fit it in.
Okay, for you, anything.
Thank you. They are looking for performers, though. Anybody that wants to be a part of this performance, they can contact them at marblecityperformers@gmail.com. Kim, write that down.
It's in my planner, baby. It's in my day timer.
What else they got?
All right. On February the 13th, and that is a Saturday, the day before Valentine's Day, from 9 to 11 p.m., Hannah Thomas.
All right.
Will be performing live there. Awesome. Awesome. We've actually seen her.
What time?
7 to 9. I'm sorry, 9 to 11.
9 to 11. All right.
Doors open at 7.
Okay.
That's what I was seeing.
All right.
Come join us for some good music and some good drinks.
Yeah, come down and meet us and let us know if you like the show.
I'll be signing autographs.
Get out of here with that. Guys, today's show is episode 16, and it's called Love's Journey. So we're going to get that popping for you right now, and sit back, relax, and here we go.
Are you ready? Sit down and turn off the TV, because it's time for the Same Sex Dialogue Podcast, where you'll hear the most entertaining discussions about gay topics, current events, and news. We bring you the very best of the LGBT community and its supporters. And guess what? Today we have a special guest just for you. Now here are your hosts, K-Town, and the super sexy fashionista herself, Kim Style.
It's Kim Style. Thank you for joining us tonight. Boy, do we have a good show for you tonight.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Gosh, all those beautiful photographs we have seen from around the world.
Yeah, they're awesome. He has been kind enough to take time out of his schedule to tell us about what all it took to get those, because that wasn't easy.
No, it couldn't have been easy.
It's not easy because, if you guys don't know, there's still like 76 countries where being homosexual is actually criminalized, and you can be executed,
Oh, well,
in some of those. So,
and we read it in an article today where in Jamaica, the LGBTQ youth is living in the sewer.
They're living in the sewer, right? When they're banished from their parents' home, they have nowhere to go.
That's devastating.
It is. It is absolutely ridiculous, honestly, that, you probably still have a whole lot of LGBTQ supporters going down there and willingly give them their money. Yeah. Yet they treat their kids that way, It's awful.
Yeah.
It is awful.
Unfortunately, I mean, as parents, I can't imagine just disowning my child for anything.
Right.
Anything. I mean, I literally told my son one time, I said, I would step over the devil to get to you.
I know you meant every word of that.
Absolutely. I would, no matter what, I would get to you to save you from anything.
Right.
And, I just don't understand these parents disowning their kids for being themselves and loving someone.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a little bit off track because this episode is all about love and
how he finds it and his journey to get there. And if you guys haven't already, you can visit his website at bradensummers.com. You know, my very favorite photo in there is the one that really, my mouth was gaped open when I was looking at it.
It was of the gay guy couple in Africa in the actual
From the tribe.
stream of water.
Yeah, from the tribe. That is a real photograph.
Yeah, and it's a real couple that actually
It's a real
got
couple.
married.
Absolutely. Absolutely. He talks about what it took for him to reach out to them and actually get that photo. It wasn't easy, but he done it, and he has had many accolades for that. So his efforts, we applaud his efforts. Oh, my God.
It's some of the most impressive photographs I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, me too. Me too, baby.
And I've seen every issue of Vogue there is. Cosmopolitan, Elle magazine, In Style magazine. This trumps it all combined.
Speaking of Trump,
Oh my goodness. He doesn't deserve that name.
he's ridiculous. He's more and more ridiculous every day.
Well, I even heard he was going to try to ban same-sex marriage.
You know what? If a lesbian, if a gay person even thinks about voting for him, I just don't know what to say about that. He's trying to undo
I would question
everything.
their reasoning. Seriously.
They obviously have not researched or seen anything this man has said or done. He's awful.
You know, not even the gay community. But
But
any
just
American
that's
that
right.
would want him
That's right.
in. How embarrassing.
He is an embarrassment. Exactly. You're right. Any human being, decent human being, would not want a man of his caliber in there because he clearly has no sense.
I think he has a little business sense.
But I mean,
he doesn't have what it takes to run our country.
He's not a decent human being, period.
Yeah.
And he's not somebody that we want to lead our country. We'd be going backwards like hell.
Hillary Clinton. That's the subliminal message.
She's
Hillary
gonna win.
Clinton.
In my heart of hearts, I think she's going to win it anyway. Yeah, it's important that you vote for whomever runs against Donald Trump. If he happens to get there, do not vote for him. We want to say that little tidbit. But on a lighter note and a better note, I talked to Mr. Kevin Hogan.
Yes.
And he is an amazing guy. He's very nice. He has a wealth of information about the B in the LGBTQ. Which
I'm sorry I missed the pre-interview.
It's okay. It's okay. I mean, it was a good conversation, and anybody that wants to know more about this, because they're like us, you know, they didn't know anything. We don't know anything about it. I mean, it's funny how sometimes we kind of we have blinders to the other part of the gay spectrum that we know nothing about. Like we didn't know anything about transgender.
The T in LGBT.
That's right. Important. So important.
So we learned so much, and that's why we wanted to do this show. Number one, to learn about it ourselves and to get the message out there. I learned so much about the transgender people.
Right.
Now I'm enjoying learning about the bisexual people.
Right.
And we can't put those in a box and put them to the side. They are a part of us.
Right. We have to support all of them. It's
right.
very important.
That's right.
That we bring about the conversation, because if we don't, who will?
That's right.
So we got to keep those issues out there, and so that they will, you know, everybody is treated as they should be treated. You know what I mean? So I'm really looking forward to that interview.
Me too.
If anybody wants to learn any more or know any more, I encourage you to please go to his website. You can look at his blog at HuffingtonPost.com/Kevin-Hogan. And also you can go to healingstigma.com. If there are any questions that you would like for us to put to Mr. Hogan when he's on our show, we'll be more than happy to do that. Also, Mr. Peter Tatchell is going to be on the show on the 19th. We're going to be talking to him from London. It's going to be 7 his time, 2 our time. He is a huge LGBTQ activist. Phenomenal man. There's been nothing but good said about him, period. I mean, he's put in work for us, no doubt, no doubt. Also, we got the Girls Hour. They're going to be coming up on our show on the 15th. They have they talk about a lot of books, very interesting podcast, very funny. We're glad to have met them, and that's going to be at noon, and that's going to be live. So anybody wants to know anything about them, go to thegirlshour.com.
Hey, girl, hey.
Their Twitter handle is the Girls Hour. So what else do we have, babe? Anything else?
Well, I just want to say we are honored to have all these people just to recognize our great show and want to be a part of it, and just want to say thank you to everybody that is supporting. And we're just still so excited, and excited to hear what Braden has to say here in just a few minutes.
Absolutely. I want to say this about Braden. He identifies as gay, all right? And he traveled to France, India, Lebanon, Brazil, South Africa, the United States, of course, and the UK to take these photographs for his Kickstarter-funded project, in which he raised himself $23,000, okay? It took Braden about 6 weeks to create all these dramatic and romantic scenes depicting only gay and lesbian couples. He did use some models, okay? So not all of them are of real gay couples, but some of them are. And also I wanted to say that as a gay man, Braden was tired of the LGBTQ community being represented as either hypersexualized or victimized.
I'm tired of that too.
So he set out to create beautiful and simply romantic pictures of only gay couples. Aww. And we're going to bring that interview.
And that's exactly what he represents.
Yes. We're going to bring that interview to you here right now. Thank you guys for joining us for episode 16 of Same Sex Dialogue. And today we have a very, very special guest. His name is Braden Summers, and he's an artist and photographer whose work alerts the viewer to the beauty in people and their environment. In our words, he has some of the most beautiful photographs we've ever seen. And he has done some special projects in for the LGBT community. Some of those are, a couple of those that we're going to talk about is the All Love is Equal project. And we're going to talk about the Love Travels project. You can see those on his website. Braden, are you with us today?
I am with you. Thank you for the lovely introduction.
Hey, no problem. Hey, we're very, very happy that you have taken time out of your very busy schedule to talk to our listeners about what it is you do. And we actually came across your photographs on Facebook. They ran through our feed, and I ran up and got Kim. I said, you have got to see his photos. They are amazing. And I actually ran those through my Twitter feed and through several of the groups that we are associated with. They all love them so much. I mean, they are incredible photographs.
We instantly knew we wanted you on our show, and thank you for the opportunity to get to talk to you today.
Yes.
And we have some questions for you if you're willing to answer them. I'm going to let you go.
Braden, first of all, will you tell our listeners exactly, some of the things that you do and what all you're involved in right now?
Sure. So I'm a commercial photographer. I shoot a lot of luxury and tourism campaigns. One of my largest client is for Marriott, and as you mentioned, I've been shooting a campaign called Love Travels. I've been shooting that for about 2 years now. And last year I shot a campaign for French tourism, and I have a lot of private clients based in the Bay Area, and that's a pretty good summation of my work, I would say.
Is Love Travel still continuing? Is that an ongoing project?
You never know. We hope so. There's still talks of the campaign continuing.
Mm-hmm.
But since its inception, it's been off and on. We'll shoot very intense projects in different cities around the United States, and then it'll stop for a few months, and then I'll get a call, and they're like, all right, the next segment's back on.
Okay.
So, of course, hope that it continues. It's been such a joy to be a part of. But you never know.
Yeah, okay.
That makes sense. Okay, so we want to start out by asking you, you're gay, of course. Okay, I want everybody to know that you are. So, how
what? He's gay?
How old were you when you came out?
I was 16.
16?
Were you were 16? Okay. So, was that hard for you?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think it's hard for most everyone to kind of just come to terms with the fact that they are a bit different and understanding what that means. And I grew up in a very small town, so there wasn't a lot of exposure to other gay, lesbian, transgendered individuals. So you have to sort of take a minute to be like, okay, what does this actually mean? And it took me a few years to really understand what gay even meant.
Yeah.
I saw it a lot on TV, and I used to go to the Cape a lot during the summer, and growing up, and we'd always see gay couples, and it always felt like part of this other group. And then eventually you realize, oh, I'm part of that group. So, I mean, it was challenging, but I think compared to a lot of the other coming out stories of my generation, that I think I had it pretty easy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's good.
Did you have a supportive family?
I did, yeah. I mean, it took some adjustment at first. I came out to my mother while I was still in high school, and although she and my father are still married, she didn't actually tell my father for 2 years and waited for me to tell him until I was ready.
Well, that was nice.
There's about 6 months where he and I didn't talk.
Uh-huh.
But that was ages ago, and eventually we started talking again, and 15 years later, I think we have a great relationship. It's not an issue at all.
Good. Did you ever experience anything negative as a child, or were you ever bullied? I ask this because most of my closest friends are gay men, and they have some stories to tell, and most of them were bullied, unfortunately, and I was just wondering that about you. Were you ever bullied or experienced anything negative in regards to anything?
Not really. I feel like I had a pretty great childhood. I mean, I was definitely introverted, but I had a really strong core group of friends, and I was an athlete, so I had a lot of friends in the cross-country team and track team, and I definitely went through moments of depression as a kid, kind of understanding that I was different, and it took till I was, probably 13, 14 to start to realize that it was because I was gay. But I really wasn't bullied that much, or maybe at all.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you were one of the lucky ones that had accepting parents and was not bullied. That's awesome.
That is awesome. Let me ask you this, Braden. What inspired you to get into photography?
Well, I've always been an artist. Growing up, my parents I think they noticed early on that I was really interested in the arts, and they put us into lots of music courses and a lot of extracurricular activities, and art was one of them, and it was something that I just gravitated towards and latched onto. And it wasn't until my senior year of high school when I took a photo course, which kind of sparked something in me and thought maybe this was something I'm interested in. At that point, I had already signed up for my freshman year of college at Boston University.
Mm-hmm.
So I went there, and photography was not, art really actually wasn't even a focus. It was, you don't have to declare a major for the first 2 years. So I used any spare time I had to get more into photography. I was shooting for this startup magazine. I joined the photo club, and that first summer after my freshman year, I thought there's no way I'm going back to the small town Connecticut after living in the city in Boston. So I applied for some photo courses in New York and San Francisco, and the Academy of Art University offered me a grant to take a few free courses for the summer.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to go to San Francisco for the summer, anticipating returning back to Boston for the start of my sophomore year. And by the end of the summer, I just fell in love with the city, and I realized that I wanted to be a photographer and that I should actually pursue it full time. So I transferred, and the rest is history.
That's great. That's great, because you are amazing for sure.
Yeah, your
You really
work is absolutely stunning.
Thank you.
You're welcome. No, thank you. What inspired the Love Travels project with you?
So, as you kind of touched upon at the beginning, there are two separate projects that I have, both featuring same-sex couples. One of them is Love Travels, and one of them is All Love is Equal.
Right.
So All Love is Equal is a personal project that I shot in 2013, and the success and viral nature of that project led to Marriott asking me to photograph their Love Travels campaign. So
Okay.
Love Travels is actually just a Marriott-specific campaign, and All of It Equal was a personal one that I took on.
Okay. So what are some of your favorite things that you like to photograph? I know, like, most of them are people, but are people, like, your favorite things to photograph? What else do you like to do?
Yeah, I think I'm a storyteller at heart, and for me, it's more interesting to tell stories with people, and those are the narratives that I think other people relate to the deepest. My favorite things to photograph are really romance-based. I think those romance stories are really interesting to me.
Yeah, and it shows tremendously. It really does. So, talking about your All Love is Equal project, were all those photos of real gay couples?
They were not, no. So a little bit of background information on that project. I was living in Paris for 6 months, trying to rebrand my portfolio and my brand as a photographer who really specializes in luxury and tourism work, and that is all tied into romance. And at some point, I was shooting all these straight couples, and my boyfriend had said, "Why don't you shoot a gay couple?" And I thought it was really interesting to me that felt so foreign. As a gay man, why would I not think to shoot a gay romance story to begin with?
Right.
And you really needed to be sort of prodded. And so I took it as a challenge, and I had this iconic image in my head of a very dapper couple in London walking on the bridge on a rainy day. And I actually went to London 3 times to try to shoot it. Of course, stereotypical rainy summer day in London just didn't really seem to happen. It was always sunny. So I really wanted rain. So the third time I went, it was raining, and I had these great models on board, and I shot this image, and I posted it, and the response to that image was crazy. People seemed to love it. It was like I hadn't seen something like this before, and it really got me thinking. Well, what is different about this image? Well, why isn't it something that we don't see regularly? And then you think about mainstream advertising and what society projects as an idea of iconic romance, and you really don't think of same-sex couples at all. You know, the Tiffany's ads,
right.
The hotel ads of the past have always been beautiful models and gorgeous locations, and
they're all straight.
And I felt like we were being cheated.
Mm-hmm.
And, I spent 6 months thinking about this before I shot it. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized, well, it's actually, we're not just being cheated, it's a real detriment to not include these images in mainstream advertisements for the general public to see, to show that our romance can be beautiful.
Right.
And that it is just as beautiful as straight romance.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Until we start showing the general public that this is that it can be beautiful, how are we going to change perception?
Yeah.
Just by talking about it, maybe, but I think by showing it, we can have a stronger impact.
Yeah. Was that the photograph that's on the bridge there in England? Was that the very first one in that project?
It was, yeah, and that was shot probably 8 months before the rest of them.
Okay.
Because that spawned the idea for the whole project, and it took 8 months to really build up the courage to, invest in the project.
Yeah.
And move forward.
Yeah, tell us about that. I know that you say this on your website about how you actually raise money to do that. Tell us about that, and where did that project take you? What countries did you visit?
So I started a Kickstarter campaign. I spent months writing the script and filming the video for it, and I felt really passionate about it. It was also at a time where the boyfriend that I spoke of, he and I broke up, and we were together for years, 3.5 years, and I was pretty heartbroken. And, my career was at somewhat of a lull at the time, and I just thought, I'm really onto something. I really think this project can make a difference, and I want to move forward with it. So I raised $23,000, which was amazing. I mean, raising that money in Kickstarter is a full-time job, let me tell you. It's a lot of cold calls, a lot of emails, a lot of just begging people to share the project. And luckily, I had The Advocate, who was interested, and they posted the Kickstarter project on the front page of the website.
Oh,
and
wow.
I think
That's
Awesome.
great.
the whole project was funded that week.
Oh,
Yes,
my.
that's great.
That's great.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah.
And so the benefit from the crowdsourcing or the crowdfunding was not only to raise the money, but also it was an incredible way of giving the project a lot of press and notice. So I had several news outlets who were very interested in seeing the final product, and that led to BuzzFeed and The Advocate featuring the project on their website on Valentine's Day 2014, and everything went viral from there.
Oh, wow.
What was one of your favorite experiences on that project specifically?
There's so many. I mean, that trip was a trip of a lifetime. My producer and I, Greg Jarzewski, we get along very well. We've worked together for years, and it was really just him and I traveling to all these different countries and finding local teams to work with in each city. So, I mean, the whole experience was just incredible. I don't really know how to explain it. So to pick a favorite is tough.
Yeah.
But I guess I would have to say perhaps that it was in India, I really connected with India in a special way. I had been there once before.
Okay.
And I can't really explain the connection, but I just felt at ease in this very chaotic and foreign place, and that was exciting to me. So to go back to India to produce same-sex imagery was really exciting, and it was challenging because it's, homosexuality is not really accepted.
Yeah,
at the time that we were there, it was legalized. I don't remember the history exactly, but I believe around 2006, homosexuality was decriminalized in India. And just a few short months after I shot the project, they recriminalized it.
Oh.
And I believe that's where it stands today, unfortunately. So in each city we tried to shoot 2 images, one of a gay couple, one of a lesbian couple. And we met with local gay organizations in each city, and especially in India. They were pretty helpful. And I wanted to shoot a traditional wedding ceremony using a same-sex couple, and then had this idea of a very glamorous image of 2 men on an elephant, and putting that together was so challenging, but the fact that it worked out was one of the most rewarding experiences of my career thus far.
Okay.
Just pulling together a whole team. And
yeah, that's understandable, especially in India.
Was that a real couple?
No.
Okay. Tell us about, I'll tell you what, this is the same project that you came across the African couple, correct?
Yes.
Okay, tell us about that. And Kim wants to ask you,
what kind of gaydar does one possess to be able to find a gay couple in a tribe in Africa? I will tell you, before you answer that, we were so impressed by that specific photo. I mean, we talked about it, we stared at it, we ogled it, we awed it. I mean, that should be like a mural on our wall.
that is one of the most awesome photos I've ever seen in my life.
Me too.
Oh, well, so there, I mean, this was shot in Johannesburg, and that couple, some of the couples in this project were real, and that they happened to be one of the authentic couples. And they have a really special story. Maybe, I think May of 2013, before I shot it, they had this ceremony, a traditional Zulu ceremony in South Africa, where gay marriage is legal, which I think is a shock to a lot of people, especially those who know how dangerous it is to be gay in most African countries.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Right.
fact that there is an African country, South Africa, that legalizes gay marriage is a shock to some people. And so this couple got married, and they are both from the Zulu tribe, and they had a traditional ceremony, and I think it was unprecedented, and there was a lot of press around their ceremony. And when I saw it, this was in the planning stages of the All of Us Equal trip, and I called my friend and producer Greg. I said, Greg, we have to get these guys.
Yeah.
They're perfect. I think they symbolize exactly what we're going for. We wanted a global representation of love, same-sex love, and I didn't want to overstep any boundaries by being inappropriate with what sort of cultural references I'm including in the imagery. And so this just felt really authentic. There's a couple that they actually got married in those outfits.
Oh.
And
Amazing. It was
so
amazing.
it felt appropriate. It didn't seem like I was exploiting the culture at all for the purpose of the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And I reached out to them via email. I reached out to them via Facebook, Instagram. I even wrote to the news organizations that covered their ceremony, trying to get their contact information, and for maybe a month, I didn't get any response from them.
Okay.
And then, I at some point flew to Paris right before the big trip, where Greg and I were plotting the different cities that we were going to travel to, and via Twitter, of all places, which I don't really even use that, they finally responded and said, yeah, sure, we'll be part of the project, and I screamed.
Wow.
So elated. And we incorporated Johannesburg into the trip for them.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Those are two of the most beautiful wedding dresses I've ever seen in my life.
You're crazy.
I want a wedding dress just like that. It's going to make me feel like Cher on a horse.
It was kind of amazing because when we were finally on set with these boys who, are beautiful, and they actually brought their best men with them.
Are those the ones that are in the stream? Braden, are those the ones that are in the stream?
Yes. Yeah.
Those are their best men. That was awesome. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So we're on set. We're on we asked this random resort because we wanted a stream, and if we could use their property, and the sun is setting, and the boys had a flat tire on the way to the location, and we're losing light quickly. It was a really dramatic day, and the resort initially said no.
Yeah.
We couldn't shoot on there, and sun has 35 minutes left before it's completely black. Right. And somehow my producer, he's got sense. He convinced them to let us go on the property, and the boys are getting dressed in these really beautiful, authentic outfits.
Yeah.
And yet, they also have their massive iPads that they're taking photographs of each other with.
Oh, how funny.
The fun that caught me to see them in these really traditional outfits with massive tablets. Taking pictures and videos of each other.
So that the day you took that photo, that was the day of their actual wedding?
No. They wore the outfits again.
Okay.
They had gotten married maybe 4 or 5 months prior.
Okay.
Did you meet with any resistance while trying to find gay couples to photograph?
Oh, everywhere. Yeah.
Everywhere.
It was 99% resistance. And it was a miracle to find the models or couples that we ultimately used for the project. It was incredibly challenging trying to get subjects.
Okay. Well, K-Town and I are an interracial couple, and we will pose for you any time.
Absolutely.
That sounds great.
I wanted to ask you about, I know you toured Asia. Did you run into any place in Asia where there was, a prominent area for gays, or did you always have to ask if you knew where a gay couple was? I mean, what did you do over there to find someone?
For this project?
Yes.
Yes, I've been all over Asia, but for this project, I was in the Middle East, I was in Lebanon, and then I was in India, and then I took a shot in Bali for the project. So those were the only locations in Asia that I photographed for this particular project.
Okay.
But the question you're asking, I think there's a larger question that you touched upon earlier of using authentic couples versus models, and why I use them. And I think by answering that, it might help answer your more immediate question of how difficult it was to find people. So, which I'll touch upon. First of all, to find real couples in some of these places where it's quite dangerous to be open was challenging. to be honest, some of the gay organizations we reached out to were really apprehensive to help, and some of them were even blatantly offended that I would possibly focus on beauty, and they couldn't understand why I would do such a thing.
Right.
And, perhaps I wasn't as articulate as I should be to get my point across. But we did end up using a lot of models because, perhaps agencies are more likely to be open to the idea of a same-sex shoot because there's in my experience, a lot of homosexuals working in modeling agencies or, I don't know, I just think it's more accepted in the fashion world than in the art world.
Yeah, I do
So
too.
it was kind of the only way to get people on board. We did reach out, as I mentioned, to some of the gay organizations, and there was a blatant undertone of beauty that I wanted to get across in this project, and so it was important for the subject to be beautiful in some respects. Beauty is used every day in advertisements. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yes. Yes, it is.
In every advertising you see, there's typically models, there's hair and makeup artists involved, there's, a team of artists just to create the most beautiful work to try to sell a certain product.
Yeah.
And so I thought I would take that mentality to, quote unquote, sell the idea that gay romance is beautiful.
Yeah.
And
Regardless.
to do that, I use beautiful subjects.
Whether it's
there's a lot of backlash on that.
Yeah.
But I still believe that I made the right decision, and I don't think the project would have had nearly as much success or viewers if that wasn't a priority. And then, there are photographers who are shooting real couples, and I think that's amazing. I think it's incredibly important to photograph the real trials and tribulations of different individuals around the world. But this was my project, and I had a specific point I wanted to make, and I used models to make that point.
Yeah, and you succeeded, and that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. How did you get to the opportunity of the famous project? How did that come about?
I'm sorry?
Your project called Famous. How did you get the opportunity to do that project?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. That's actually not necessarily a project. It's just a title of one of the sections on my website.
Okay.
Okay. It's just famous people. So I photographed different celebrities for various causes. One of them being the Tony Awards. We were shooting promo images to feature the Tony Awards. I think it was back in 2010. So I got to work with a bunch of exciting people who were nominated for a Tony that year. And I've also worked with some nonprofits, one of them being We Day, which I'm not sure if you're familiar with them, but they hold events all around the country. Could be around the world, I'm not sure. But it's mostly focused on kids and engaging kids to better the world. And they are able to bring a lot of celebrities on board to get kids excited. And they asked me to come and photograph a bunch of the kids or a bunch of the celebrities that were speaking at it, one of the events.
Who was your favorite actor to work with during that?
I'm sorry?
Who was your favorite celebrity to work with during that time?
That's a good question. I think, let's see. Actually, I'm forgetting his name at the moment, but Jack from Will and Grace.
From Will and Grace?
You remember the actor's
Oh,
name?
Jack from Will and Grace. I don't remember his real name, but gosh, I bet he's fun.
He was really, really lovely to work with. And, he took the time to make sure he knew my name and make sure we had everything we needed.
Oh, nice.
That's fun.
But, yeah, he's lovely. I mean, a bunch of them are lovely. Working with celebrities, it can be a different beast from working with models or real people. Sean Hayes is his name.
Maybe he had a little crush on you.
I don't know about that. Maybe.
Braden, I want to ask you this. I know that I seen on your website how it made you feel so proud and elated to see, some of your images on the SCOTUS website during the president's response.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah. So those. So go ahead.
I was going to ask you, and I'm sorry about that. I was going to ask you, did you ever think in your lifetime you would ever see gay marriage passed in the United States?
Growing up, no, there wasn't really even the momentum, or I didn't see the momentum. I mean, gay wasn't even something that was talked about at all in the community that I grew up in. So, no, I mean, at some point, there was momentum, and I thought, all right, eventually we will see this. This is in my 20s at this point, but I thought there was potential, and but I didn't think it would happen as quickly.
Yeah, I don't think any of us did. We were very surprised about it, and then to actually see your images on that, I know that had to make you feel very proud.
Yeah, absolutely. I was working with Marriott, and they are the largest hotel group in the world, and we were promoting same-sex imagery. And there were certainly companies who were promoting LGBT romance and couples in their ads before Marriott, of course. But I think the campaign they presented was unprecedented in the fact that the work was so mainstream, and there were ads all over San Francisco on the streets and all over New York, and covering 10-story buildings in D.C., just a couple blocks from the Capitol building. The exposure that campaign got really was incredible, and I was so proud to be a part of it, to be a part of this changing face that says, yes, we're a mainstream company, and we're going to promote the fact that we support same-sex marriage and romance and equality, and they weren't afraid of the backlash. And the amazing thing about Marriott is that the heart really was behind it. I think what a lot of people don't know is, first of all, it's known that Marriott is a Mormon company. That some of the founders and presidents are Mormon, but and so there's assumptions that they're not going to be supportive. But they've actually ranked incredibly high in the HRC list of best companies to work for for the LGBT community for many years.
Uh-huh.
And they're very supportive, and it was just great to be a part of the campaign that really was genuine and not just in it for the dollars.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Braden...
so when the announcement came that, same-sex marriage is legal nationwide, and, I click on an article to read what President Obama says, and my images for the Love Travels campaign were surrounding him on the Advocate's website. I just felt like, in some small way, that I was part of it, and that was just a brilliant moment in my career.
Right, absolutely. You had to feel proud, and we're very happy for all of the success that you've had in your career. We want to leave our listeners with a way to find more of your work. Will you tell them where they can do that?
Sure. All my social handles are at Braden Summers. It's BradenSummers. And my website is bradensummers.com.
Awesome. Go visit, look at his beautiful photographs. You won't regret it. You will be in awe.
You really will be. And share those and like his Facebook pages and tweet to him. And we appreciate you so much, Braden, for sharing your experience with us and those beautiful photos. We wished you all the best.
Yes, Braden, thank you so much.
Well, thank you for this platform. This was a real treat.
All right, guys, thank you for joining us for another episode of Same Sex Dialogue. You can find us on Twitter, of course. It's at Same Sex Dialogue. And visit our website, samesexdialogue.com. Before we go, baby, I want to say I love you.
I love you more.
That's the end of our show. Don't you dare leave without going to iTunes to subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. Ciao, baby.